Hey lovelies, I am in my favorite part of the world, the Oregon coast, on a misty day. Over there, that gray, beneath the gray is the ocean. This is kind of, this is kind of typical Oregon weather. The coast is, it's about 60 degrees right now, maybe a little bit cooler than that, but it was sunny all day. It was beautiful. Anyway, and then behind me right there, I think that's a hemlock tree right there. Really magical. I've spent a lot of time staring at that tree over the years. Anyway, so I am wanting to do another video in my series on Buddhism and the Tarot. The last video I did was about the central foundational element of a mindful tarot practice, which is the question. This idea that what we're really needing to lean into in our tarot practice is life as question, asking the question. And I talked a little bit about a practice I call revolving the card, where, we take a card that has come up in one spread one day and that leaves us with a little mystery, like, what does this card mean? And then we use that as the significator card for next day's spread. One of the reasons I'm doing this series on Buddhism and the Tarot, I've wanted to complete this series, I started years ago. One of the reasons I'm doing it right now, is because in October, the amazing tarot scholar, tarot artist, Robert Place and I will be doing a workshop using his reissue of his brilliant Buddha tarot deck. We'll be doing that at Omega Institute in upstate New York. And actually this coming Sunday, August 21st, 2022, Robert will be joining me in the monthly Zoom I do for my Mindful Tarot community. So if you're not yet officially a part of the Mindful Tarot community, just drop me an email below. Joining the Zoom is as easy as getting on the mailing list. It's not an exclusive club by any stretch of the imagination. If you think that you want to come aboard, join us on Sunday for the Zoom with Robert. Join us on our Facebook page. Just drop me a note and join the community, or ask to be invited to the Facebook page, Mindful Tarot on Facebook. So I'm revisiting this question of what is the link between Buddhism and tarot. For me, as a Zen Buddhist teacher, as a Dharma teacher, as an interfaith chaplain, as a tarot scholar, reader, teacher, the tie between Buddhism and tarot is very deep. It's at the very core of how I approach the cards. And so that starting point of asking a question, right? That's critical. And not just asking a question, but living a question through the cards. Letting the cards open up that space of question, that open space, right? The open, of course, I never think to pull these cards. I've got my trusty 1971 Blushing Fool plaid back. But I never think to break out the cards to begin with. But, if you think about the open space of the Fool, that space of beginner's mind, that space of standing on the precipice, what's beneath me, what's above me, what's before me, what's behind me. Oh, golly, where is my Fool when I need him? Well, my Fool's always right here, actually. Right here. Here's my Fool. And in this deck, called the Blushing Fool, because of the kind of print error that left his face blotchy. But, there he is, right? Filling the lungs with air, opening the heart, inclining toward the heavens, and moving forward, that flower of freshness and innocence. In the Marseille deck, the Marseille tradition, the Marseille lineages, the dog or cat or whatever the little animal is nipping at the heels is actually like nipping at your junk. It's I love the the Noble Tarot here, with the flesh exposed on the Fool as the dog bites at his... I wonder if that noise is coming for you too, coming through. All right, something weird with the headphones, but we'll assume all is well. So the vulnerability of this position, right, in the tradition going back to the Marseille decks, but in this rendition, in Pamela Coleman-Smith's rendition, it's really so much more about a kind of joyful abandon, that uplift, and that willingness to embark, right? Living the question. That's where it starts, and that living the question is at the heart of Buddhism too. That sort of willingness to enter in, to say, what is this? What is this moment? That curiosity, that fundamental stance of open-ended curiosity at the heart of mindfulness practice, right? The second foundational connection between Buddhism and tarot is the notion of transformation. Now, this actually is a little bit tricky, because in the esoteric tradition, and again here it would probably have behooved me to pull out the magician card right off the bat. So, in the esoteric tradition inscribed in the tarot as we're most familiar with it in the 2020s, right? The Waite-Smith tradition, that stance of the magician who, as above, so below, right? This stance of manifestation, right? This stance of magic, of bringing the divine into reality, bringing the idea into reality, making it so, right? That active posture of infinity that manages within the material realm to embody the sacred and the infinite. That is a posture of manifestation. And that's different from transformation, right? There's a powerful dualist, like dichotomous, two-sided impulse in the esoteric tarot that says, there's above, there's below, there's good, there's bad, or sacred and profane, or celestial and bestial, right? Light or dark. All the ways in which, within the esoteric tarot tradition, the kind of tradition that the Golden Dawn brings to the lineage that it inherits from France, there's this sense that there's a divide between the finite and the infinite. Now, Buddhism is a non-dual philosophy, a philosophy that holds tightly to the idea that there is no absolute divide between flesh and spirit, between me and you, between earth and heaven, between finite and infinite, that nirvana, like the bliss state of total release and total enlightenment, is not separate from, it's actually the very other side of samsara, of the suffering of cyclical, human, sentient, created existence. Buddhism is a worldview that says there's no absolute beginning and there's no end. Everything moves into everything else, beginningless, endless process, change, transformation. So Buddhism, at the heart of its vision of the world, is a notion of transformation, not the kind of dualist perspective that leads toward a vision of manifestation, like things aren't the way they are, I will manifest them as I want them. Now, I think a lot of us, when we think about what it means to manifest something, we realize that we're working with the materials that are in our possession or in our vicinity, So we may not think that we're just simply bringing the divine or the idea or the ideal into existence. We may think of magic as some working with what is. Buddhism, however, makes that framework explicit and says there is no absolute change. There is only the transforming of one thing into another because they are already connected. Transformation is at the heart of mindful tarot practice, and it's at the heart of how I work with the tarot, and it's really at the heart of the mandala of tarot that Robert Place has brought into being in his beautiful Buddha tarot deck, a deck that uses the Tibetan Buddhist understanding of transformation in particularly profound ways in the 4 minor suits, by showing us in each of the minor suits how the energy of that suit is about a transformation, a way in which wrath or anger in the swords, a kind of divisiveness or conflictual reality, is at the very root of what can become a kind of wisdom that cuts through delusion, that cuts through illusion toward understanding. Each of the 4 minor arcana suits in Robert Place's deck demonstrate for us the movement of transformation, how something that we might not like at all, nonetheless, at its very core, has the energy that can be unfolded and transformed as something wholesome and enriching. So, in a mindful tarot practice, I'm always keen on discerning how our acceptance and settling into what is actually present in this moment, nonetheless, can help us transform where we are into where we need to be. So transformation is the key for me. And the practice that I have introduced over the past few months, and that I talked about in my last video on Buddhism and Tarot, the practice of revolving the cards, is one very concrete way in which I have explored transformation and brought it to bear directly into my tarot practice. So I'm in the middle of a discernment process with my career as a professional healthcare chaplain, my day job, as it were, also my night job when I'm on call. And as I'm working with the energies of my job, I've found myself in my readings, as I revolve the card and as I deepen my understanding of the question that's turning around in my heart, I've also found myself unfolding a process of transformation. And very specifically, I've been working with the energy of the sun in recent times. And I've been working with a deck, the Ostara Tarot. And it gave me the sun in my root position a few days ago, and the moon in my canopy position. The question that I had was, what is this power of the sun? What does it mean? Where is my power? How do I stand in my power? And what opened up for me was this sense of how power, as I understand it, transforms into action. So, very explicitly, I moved from the Sun card to the Chariot card as my root, and the Six of Swords as my canopy. So how does the bright, brilliant power of the sun, the megawatt energy of the sun, how does that transform in my life? How do I stand in that power? And the answer was about trusting in what is guiding me forward in the chariot and helping me move on in the Six of Swords. And this led me to realize that my root canopy spread reading really is at its core a reading that's about transformation, because just like the tree, the roots pull nutrients from the soil, which then are literally transformed in the growth of the tree upward in its canopy, in its spreading branches and needles or leaves. That's what the root and canopy spread is exploring for us. How it is that whatever energy is right here is already in the process of moving, transforming in our lives into something else. So in this example of the sun revealing this root of the chariot and this canopy of the Six of Swords, what was opening up for me is the way in which the tapping into my own power roots me in this capacity to move forward, and that opens up into, that transforms into a sense of moving on, which is where I am in my career, moving on. Not quite sure yet where I'm being led, but very clear in the ways in which I'm undergoing a process of transformation which the tarot is helping me realize. Does it make sense how this focus on transformation is so different from the focus on manifestation? You know, how the focus, the emphasis here is how do we settle right here and now into what is. So I'm going to do a quick reading, and I'm interested in that chariot card from the other day. And I want to explore more fully what is guiding me. So I'm going to be turning over my cards one at a time until I get to the chariot. I'm just going to do it like this. So I'm basically turning over from the top of the deck, which is the bottom of the deck as I'm holding it up, until I get to the chariot. And I'm working with the wonderful Ostara Tarot, which has just been, I mean, it's been so amazing to work with this deck this month. I think what I love most about this deck is the four voices of the different artists, the four women artists, and the way in which there's a distinctive intertwining of different visions. The deck uses animals that repeat for the minor arcana suits, like the fives all have snakes in them, etc. Okay, there's the chariot. So what was right before it? So this is my canopy, which is the Nine of Pentacles. And then right after it, and this is my root, which is Temperance. Wow. Okay. So yeah, so I'm sort of asking what is guiding me, and I'm being invited in this moment of transformation to settle into the active blending and practice and balancing of forces. My card of the month this month is the Seven of Cups, which I'm really, it's such a powerful card for me this month, because I'm really confronted with choices and with my own ambivalence and with what it is to be drawn in many directions and not to know the answer, capital T, capital A. And Temperance is reminding me to actually be able to be with the different forces. And I have to look at the write-up. This looks like this is Molly John's art, one of the artists, Molly Applejohn. These different animals her art tends to be, it always has a feel more of fairy tale to me than the other artists. So it looks like there's predators and prey, and she's at the middle of this divided world. There's, yeah, I'm not sure. So fire and water being envisioned here with this animal kingdom, and her at the center. Who's she holding? A basket or bucket of some sort. So, okay, so balancing with what is and with the competing edges of what is, and then the canopy here being this complete repose of the 9 of coins, the rest. There's a certain element of vigilance in the cat, but the lady is at ease. All is not completely resolved, but a sense of ease, a sense of rest and relaxation, a sense of repose. So this active state of discerning so many different options, this is a moment, like all moments, of transformation. And the invitation here is to be with the indecision and the competition and the ambivalence, the multivalence, the many options, to be with that at the very center of it. And in being with that, to find the resting place, to let that emerge, transforming a kind of active tension into a watchful release. Root transforming into canopy. Okay, transformation, the second kind of point of interest in a Buddhist approach to the tarot. I hope this makes sense. I hope it's valuable. And again, if you'd like to join us this Sunday, August 21st, noon Pacific time, for the community Zoom for the Mindful Tarot community, join Robert Place and myself as we talk more about, you guessed it, transformation. Thank you all for your practice. May you be well.